Whew. Hold on. What's going on, guilty guys and gals? Welcome back to Stra 2. We are in the midst of Trial 2. And we're grilling... Well, right now we're grilling Kanade, but we're grilling Emma as a whole. And apparently there's a lot more trial left than I thought, because I've got like an hour and 20 minutes worth of footage before the end of the trial. So I guess they just shoved all the minigames in this half. Anyway, let's get into it. Kanade, you have a loophole there. Forgive my voice a little bit. It's because I was recording a bit earlier too. So, yikes. A loophole? If somebody had stolen Kokoro's student handbook, obviously he or she might have entered the room freely. Unless the auto power saving system had been active. Auto power saving system? You mean the system that automatically turns off the handbook if there's no input for a certain amount of time? That is a very long sentence. Oh my god. Even if someone stole Kokoro's student handbook, as Kanade said, it is impossible for one to turn it on again after it goes off, unless Kokoro herself tries it. How about touching it constantly so the power doesn't go off? That's impossible. You can manipulate others' smart student handbook with your hands. What? While the power saving system is active, it shares the same recognition algorithm while turning it on, which means it only reacts to the owner's fingerprints. What do you mean? Don't say any hard words. In other words, the handbook would go off unless Kokoro herself was touching it. As everyone else has explained, Kanade, your reasoning cannot be valid at the moment due to the problems like this. Ha! Nah, she's got some witty explanation. Yeah, I knew it. Can I ask everyone a quick question here? What is it, all of a sudden? Roha has constantly insisted that this case is the curse of the Yuki-onna, right? Yeah, so? So she did it! No. Why did you believe so in the first place? Here we go, we're going to talk about severed hands. Because Yuki-onna is known to freeze the one she hates and take her hands and feet. And Kokoro died in the exact same way, didn't she? That's right. Apparently, Kokoro seems to have been killed in the same way, with Yuki-onna's curse. Well, anyone but a Roha wouldn't be dumb enough to believe it's an actual curse. Yeah, no, I disagree. Teruya would. Who says I'm dumb? Ooh. And why do you come out with that again? You're not going to claim that it was actually the curse, are you? Not at all. But if it's not the curse, then why did the killer choose such a cumbersome method of murder? To promote fear? No, Hibiki. Please think before you talk. This is obviously a copycat crime, and of course the killer had a reason for doing it. Copycat? What's that? Literally, it means the case that imitates another case in the past. It means that this case imitates another in the past. But this time, she's saying the case had imitated the legend of Yuki-onna. And what's the reason? It's obvious! A cover to conceal the trick of locked room murder. As Sora pointed out, Kokoro's student handbook recognizes nothing but her own fingerprints. It would turn off even if the other person keeps on touching it. And they somehow knew that. Well, actually, if they're an ultimate despair, not ultimate despair, but you know what I mean, then they'd probably know. Then, what if the killer had Kokoro's fingerprints? Yeah. I see, that was the reason the killer did such a thing to Kokoro. The evidence at Kokoro's body, that was nothing like Yuki-onna's curse. .
What?
Cut them off, you mean? The killer cut off both of Kokuro's hands because she needed her fingerprints.
Eek! Cutting off the fingers to get fingerprints?
No, cutting off the hands to get the fingerprints, Uroha.
That was it. The elements of Yukiona's curse were all just a fake.
Well, they're not... Okay, well...
The true intention was the fingerprints.
Yeah, she didn't have an obsession with hands and feet.
Wait, that means the killer carried a severed hand just to turn on the student handbook, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
But how would you do that? It's not only the matter of hiding it, but also the matter of resolving the blood and the smell.
Well, I guess we found out what the dry ice was for.
And another thing, he didn't have to cut the feet if he only needed the fingerprints. She didn't have to carry the hands and feet. As Yuruko pointed out, she only needed a fingertip to get the fingerprint.
Then why did she cut them all? Because if just one finger had been cut, it would have been easy to infer the purposes for the fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
It's only after the case when we discovered Kokuro's body anyway. So the killer could bring only a fingertip for a while, and cut the rest at the last stage of the crime.
Setting up Kokuro's body.
That's what you want to say, kinda.
Yes, at least you seem to have some smart reasoning. Just a guess. No evidence, and not enough reason to do such a tiresome task just for a fingerprint. No, there is evidence. Look, I found the finger.
Yuki, that's gross.
At the time we discovered Kokuro's body, it was just beginning to melt and bleed. But there was a dry bloodstain on the bed. Strange, isn't it?
What do you mean, strange?
Oh, Shinji. The dry bloodstain was the trace of cutting the fingertip at the beginning. Uh-huh. As Satsuka said, the imitation of the legend was just for show.
The second island had a great motif of Yukiona's tale, so she used it to divert attention from the fingerprint. Pretty well done, isn't it?
So, how's it?
What?
So how's that?
I think that's more accurate.
Does this solve your trouble about entering the dorm room?
Well, it certainly does explain how Emma entered Kokuro's room well disguised as her.
And more surprisingly, the one who came out last at the performance night we brought Kokoro to her room was... Ta-da! It was Emma. Oh, what about it?
You know what about it, Aroha.
If she were the last person remaining in the room, she could have stolen the handbook without being noticed by anyone else.
Emma, no, it can't be.
Uh-oh, the music's fading out.
It's just as Kanade expected.
Yeah, which is frustrating to say the least.
By spotting the killer first and tracing the case back with the information from the killer, we could see what we couldn't before. Dun 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 dun. Combining the reasoning just came out.
What?
Combining the reasoning just came out with what we revealed at first.
what we needed at first. Something like that. I don't know. The killer used the foregoing... What? The killer used the aforementioned way to bring out Kokoro's smart student handbook. I don't know. I'm confused. And after everybody went to bed, she came back to Kokoro's room before the power went off. Perhaps the real and fake Kokoro were switched at that moment, too. And she cut Kokoro's finger off and locked her in the refrigerator.
Oh, it goes together with the refrigerator trick.
My goodness! Now we've solved everything we got stuck at the beginning. Access to the room, the time needed to freeze the body, and the alibi problem. Wait, isn't it strange? Doesn't the school rule state that losing the student handbook is a violation?
Yeah, but if she's already dead, it doesn't really matter, does it?
If the killer took Kokoro's handbook in that way, she should have been punished.
It's not that strange. This is a theft rather than a loss. And school rules tend to make an exception for murder.
Was there a rule saying that? Was there? Well, yeah. Monaco said so when we opened the door of Kokoro's room and discovered the body.
I don't remember what he said. I remember it happened, though.
Well, I do believe we're a bit too late on that, though.
What do you mean by...
For further reference purposes, let me say that in this dire situation, to break down the door, the rules... that it is okay to break down the door in this dire situation. The rules are strict, but it shall be forgiven to break them in certain situations.
Huh. So basically...
I decide when things happen. For instance, a murder.
Rest in peace.
Well, since you did get out of your way to call me, I'll open the door this time.
Are we gonna have to break down a door later in the game? Just wonder. Oh, the door unlocked. Cool. Yeah, we know.
Speaking of the school rules, in fact, there's another rule the killer violated for this case.
Oh?
You mean
the vandalism, right?
you're quite smart?
Uh-oh. Don't fall under her influence, Yuki. You'll be dead.
What do you mean, Yuki? Explain it.
You said that, Big Brother. Or, I don't know what that's supposed to... You said it, Big Brother. Sure. The day after the performance, you saw the broken Yuki Onna statue at the museum during the morning jog. During your morning jog.
Oh, yeah, we talked about vandalism at that time, too.
The fact that nobody was punished for vandalism means...
Why did they break the statue, though?
Yeah, that was part of the trick.
To increase the plausibility of Yuki Onna's curse, she destroyed the statue to make it seem as if it awoke.
That was a little bit far, but whatever.
That's one of the reasons, but the true purpose is different.
I think she wanted the wig, right?
As you all know, the essence of this case is the killer's disguise. You can cover skin color with makeup and clothes by wearing Kokoro's, but what about the hair?
Hearing that, the Kokoro we met was too similar to the original to consider her as a disguised one. How did she make that hair? Well, she didn't. Maybe this was the reason that evidence existed. I don't know how she got ice particles in the hair, though. That I still don't understand. Yeah, it's the liquid nitrogen, dude, totally.
Kuredesune. The dressing room. She took a wig from the dressing room inside the museum.
Oh, I thought it was on the statue. Oh well.
That's it. Of course there weren't. There were many kinds of wigs in the dressing room, but there wasn't one that resembles Kokoro's hair, was there?
I mean, you could cut and style it.
Iroha, do you remember the costume party held at the first night we arrived on the second island?
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Do you remember who took care of our hairdressing at that time?
Dun dun dun.
Oh. It was Emma.
Dun dun.
Man, you guys suck. I hate this. But what's bringing the wig have to do with the broken Yuki-onna statue?
The relationship between the wig and the broken statue. Maybe it's because of that. Oh, I have no idea. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I have no clue what's going on right now. Oh, she really... Well, I guess, again, I keep saying, like, she really knew about all this, but she's working with Mikado and obviously has access to the camera room. So maybe she did know about Teruya's habit.
Maybe it's because of the dressing room props list.
What's that?
Oh, I saw that too. It's a list that contains the amount of stock for each prop in the dressing room.
What does that mean? I sort of doze off for a second here. Oh, is he going to accidentally stay on this sentence for a while? Okay, there we go.
A list that tells us which wig or clothes amounts and how much. Like that. If the killer had taken out the wig to disguise as Kokoro, then the dressing room would have one less wig than the list states.
You could put it back.
To cover that, she destroyed the statue and took the hair part to fill up the inventory.
Why did she do such an unnecessary move? Nobody would notice the loss of just one wig.
Well, somebody would have.
Hiding the disguise was most important for the killer, so she might have been concerned about such a minor thing.
And we totally would have known, too.
Indeed, the meticulousness wasn't in vain. Among us, there's a single one who memorized all of the lists and checked for every single day. The ultimate dude.
What? Who's that pervert?
Your friend, Iroha.
Sorry, that's me.
No, I'm sorry.
Wah wah.
I don't remember very well, but I feel that I experienced something irreversible due to the mistake in taking inventory.
Oh dear.
Well, it's my previous work habit, too. I can't bear to be without knowing exact quantities in stock.
Even though Teruya checked it every day, we didn't even notice the wig had disappeared. We can say that the killer had been too grandiose.
Oh, okay.
But if the stock had not been filled, Teruya would have noticed the loss. So the killer was a step above us in that area. One of the wigs in the dressing room had the pieces of destroyed statue on it. The inference started from there.
Oh, I thought it was ice. Never mind.
Still, we would never have come up with the disguise idea without Kanade's help.
No, I was able to do this just because I looked outside the box.
The box 15.
Uh-huh. Well, it seems like the silhouette of the killer is being revealed.
Uh-huh.
Emmy.
Emma, if you really are the killer, just confess now. We'll give you a plea bargain. I don't want to doubt and fight against you anymore. Well, that's a shame, because I'm going down swinging. Right? Or maybe not. Are you? Are you that eager to accuse me of the killer? Oh dear. He's going creepy factor. You've ruined my friendship with Kokoro, my ultimate talent, and everything. But you still didn't have enough, do you?
Em, don't cry.
She's a murderer, it's fine.
I once thought that it would be totally nonsense. But after hearing the logical reasoning, I can hardly believe that these tears are true.
Still, she deserves the name of ultimate actress. Doesn't seem like a crocodile's at all. Somebody hug her. Okay, enough of that. It's my commentary.
I can't find out who's telling the truth.
If we spot an innocent as the killer, then everyone but the killer is killed, right? Have it your way, if you want to die.
I don't know, man. That's pretty creepy. What do you mean?
I'm not the killer. All of you are being tricked by verbose yet wrong reasoning of Kanade. If you pick me, then all of us will die. The real killer is laughing at us beyond this stage. Please think again.
So, when will you ever stop that disgusting acting? All of this evidence is indicting your name. It's pointing towards you, okay?
Sora, you said so, didn't you? If Kokoro hadn't died, perhaps my sincerity would have attracted her into our party.
Grr.
Yes, I wanted to be her friend from the deepest part of my heart. Which means, if I get hanged here while I'm innocent, I won't be able to face the dead Kokoro after I die. We still have a chance. Trust me. I'll tell you what's wrong with your reasoning. Then you'll be able to believe that I'm not the killer.
Okay, if you say so.
Dun 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 dun.
Let me point out the contradiction in your reasoning. It's just one minor flaw in such lengthy reasoning. But that will prove my innocence.
Dun 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 dun.
I hope you'll change your mind.
Ugh. You can try to convincing me. Oh, it's cross swords. Of course it is. I dropped something. Okay, I got it. Shoubai's account and bag of dry ice, Monokru's balcony. The balcony, right? The translation will be in the description. Dang it, I didn't check. She's probably saying something about not being able to escape the crime scene after Kokoro's body is placed. Right? Something like that. Probably. I don't know. That's my guess. I wish this minigame was a little different. But you know what? It's cool. I can't imagine how, like, horrifying it would be to be faced with trying to translate all that. Anyway, I think that's the end of this video, so we swapping now. Okay? No, it's possible to get into the Monokru's after the door is locked at nighttime. Ah, I was right. What?
arguing black is white, Sora. This isn't nonsense. It was impossible in the previous island, but we got the way after this last class trial. I dropped my thing again. I got like a little fidgeter. The balcony door on the 4th floor hall, I mean. Oh, that's right. The balcony doors opened after the last trial.
But the 4th floor of the Monocruise isn't that low, is it? She could get out of the ship through there, but it's too risky.
But what if she had a rope-like thing to climb down?
No way, Yuki. Nobody went out through a place like the balcony.
A rope-like thing. I wonder.
That reminds me of the testimony about the balcony that I've heard.
Oh, that's Shobai, right? That he saw the rope hanging down? No? Shinji? It was somebody.
Excuse me, Shinji.
Whoa, why do you call on me all of a sudden?
Haven't you told me that you saw something at the balcony side on your morning jog that day?
Yeah, you mean that. I think I saw something like a big, long cloth being rolled up.
So, Emma, according to what Shinji said, wouldn't it be possible for the killer to get out of the ship through the balcony at nighttime? Whew, what a sentence. Of course it's impossible to come back through there, but we know how Hajime did in the last murder. If the killer had come back just right after the door is opened, nobody would notice her, and the perfect crime is achieved.
Dun, 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 dun.
Perhaps what Big Brother saw was the killer quickly retrieving the rope-like thing after coming down from outside.
Oh my god, I just realized it's probably the bed sheets. That's why there's none on Kokoro's bed.
What? That's just a hypothesis. I don't know about any such thing. But the time Shinji mentioned exactly corresponds to that day, doesn't it?
Who else would be throwing sheets over the balcony?
Yeah, maybe that's the way she used to move out. Get her own place in the world, you know? We've got too much evidence already. Don't you know that a series of hypotheses can be put together as a reasonable argument?
It really is you, Emma.
3 L's in really.
No way. Em did it?
To sum it up, the killer entered Kokoro's room freely from that morning. Thank you, Nikkei. So, we had recognized the disguised Kokoro as the real and alive Kokoro. And that made us believe that the case is a locked room murder after her sudden death.
In fact, there's another reason to doubt Emma. Since the performance, she'd finished her meal very fast. For that, she had no appetite. She's never finished her meal with us. Why?
She didn't finish the meal with us.
Because she had to act as Coco. She's the killer, that is.
Yeah, she always left early, that's what he's saying.
She demanded us to bring meals 3 times a day at the appointed time, so Coco must be in the room at those moments. However, at the same time, Emmy herself should eat with us in order to avoid being doubted. Thus, she had no choice but to make up a reason to get out of the dining room and start disguising.
Come to think of it, I believe that was the reason she designated a specific mealtime in the first place. It was done by Kokoro herself, but now we all know that she was actually the disguised killer. By setting the exact time, she could decrease the risk of an unexpected situation.
Wait, hold on. I just realized that means that if it was like that far back, that Shobai conspired with Emma. Doesn't it? So that's why he's super lax. He's like, yeah, I know who the killer is. I missed that. I don't know. That was actually probably nothing. But I don't know.
Everything perfectly makes sense.
Are you going to doubt me to the end?
Is she talking to Kanade?
Even though you're all missing one important fact.
That's what you said last time, and we just solved that, so...
There's nothing like that. Stop struggling on and on, because it's getting a bit disgusting. No. It's a thing that was mentioned before. I'll prove to you it was totally impossible for me to disguise as Kokoro.
You're going to talk about Shobai's diagnosis, right? I'm guessing. Because it seems like we've the logic has flowed back to that point, so we should talk about it now, probably, right? Yuki's account. Dry ice, dry blood, Kokoro, Shobai's account.
So, you're saying that I disguised as Kokoro? That's absolutely impossible. I'm an actress, not a voice actor. I can't mimic her voice. And there's a height problem, too.
We already talked about all this, though.
The height difference of me and Kokoro is over 20 centimeters. Do you really believe I could disguise as her? Of course, these two difficulties could be explained by the disease. But think it this way. Had there been no disease, would I have been able to disguise as Kokoro? Her disease was diagnosed on the morning of the day after the performance. The killer should have prepared to disguise in the daybreak before that. What's this? Was the killer aware of Kokoro's disease in advance? With no other way to overcome the voice and height difference. They had no way to overcome those, but they still prepared to disguise by somehow predicting that Kokoro would suffer a rare endemic disease?
No.
Again, unless you're an actual god, that's absolutely impossible.
She's denying the charge, on and on. Let's listen to her again carefully. There must be a loophole. Yeah, I know. I know what it is. Shobai lied. Who would have thought? He's our most trustworthy friend. Ding, 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 ding. Oh. I don't remember if that... Oh, no, right, because the video ended. I was like, I forgot that keeps happening, but yeah.
Emma, did you just say endemic disease? Huh? What about that?
That's weird.
Those who weren't with us at Shobai's examination shouldn't know the fact that Kokoro had been suffering an endemic disease. Those who weren't with us?
I think I kind of did an Emma accent on that. Oops. Everyone except me, Rara, Ruko, and you. Calling you Ruko you?
And Dr. Shobai and Patient Coco.
I like how Shobai doesn't get a nickname.
He doesn't deserve one, okay?
You weren't there, Emma. So how did you know that Kokoro's disease was endemic? What are you talking about? You said that in the dining room.
No. We only said that the disease is a rare one, not an endemic one.
What?
Uh-ohs.
And surely you would know, because Kokoro at the examination was actually you, Emma. Tongue slip, coming all the way down here. You're getting quite nervous then, I guess.
Oh my gosh! You can't take it back now.
Thanks, Shinji.
Wait, I just said that it might be an endemic disease.
What?
Say what? See, both islands we've been were tropical, so I just naturally got the image of an endemic disease. It's just a coincidence, and now you're picking on such a minor thing.
Pathetic. That's the lamest excuse I've ever heard.
And it's not important whether the disease is endemic or not anyway, is it? The point is, how did I know that Kokoro was suffering a disease beforehand? Oops. Indeed, the killer must have started to prepare for disguise before the examination result came out. Which means... So, it makes a contradiction if she hadn't been aware of the disease. You got it? Now you know that you were all wrong, don't you? And the music stopped. Oh, it's back. Never mind. We're good. Well, I want to give an objection. Objection! Was the result true in the first place? So, I think it went like this. What do you mean? Even if Kokoro were actually Emma, the disease itself was diagnosed by Shobai, wasn't it? Oh, really? Then let's ask him about it right now. To Mr. Doctor there, who hasn't said a single word yet?
Hey, I didn't fall asleep this time, alright?
Oh, he actually hasn't said anything until now. What were you doing?
Don't bother me. I'm busy arranging details on the last business transactions. There are more than 20 businesses that must be dealt simultaneously. I have to prepare for alternatives since I'm wasting my time stuck in here.
Jesus! What does he think this life at stake trial is for?
Shobai, I'm sorry, but I want to ask something of you.
What ask? You deduced the killer, then the trial's over, isn't it? Just stop wasting time and put an end to this.
There still remains the final objection, and we need your testimony to break it, Shobai. During the inspection, you said that, right? You knew the killer from the beginning, and she made a huge mistake.
He said that? Whoa.
Shobai, was your examination real?
You guys, I have a creed too as a broker, got it? It's like the examination wasn't just a favor, it was a business.
What are you on about?
Never reveal the information about the customers and the business details. That's my creed as a broker.
But this is a class trial. Are you gonna stick to that creed crap when your life is at stake?
Of course I'm not. The most important thing is my life for me, too. However, well, fine. I'll give you a special service this time, then. My business partner was Kokoro Mitsume, technically, and I feel no need to respect a dead woman.
Wow, rough.
Wait, Shobai?
This is the request I received from that Kokoro Mitsume. I was attacked by the Void. I want to blow the cover of the Void who attacked me, so please make a false examination for my safety. And deliver that fake result to the other people.
I said wait!
What? So you mean Kokoro wasn't sick at all?
Who would have thought?
That's a little different. That request was not made by the real Kokoro in the first place.
You said that you know who the killer is, Shobai. Then, do you mean that you got who she was just by that request?
'Cause it was weird, obviously. Duh. Like, come on. There we go. I wouldn't leak you this, so she could have spoken. She could have spoke when there were just the two of us. But she used that tablet PC to converse even in front of me. And moreover, Emma Magarobi. That woman said that her body's hot as lava after Kokoro Mitsume fell down. Wait, why'd she say so when Kokoro Mitsume was attacked by Void and not suffering a disease?
Maybe she got burnt with wounds.
You don't have to make up excuses at this point. We already know.
On reflection, we just acted upon Emma saying she's got a fever. After taking her to the room, we only drugged her or put a wet towel on her face.
I think drugged is the wrong word in that one.
It's obviously a measure for the disease, not for an attack. Seems like Emma had put out bait for us. And we took it. Except me, I'm super smart. I didn't take it out. She's got a fever, inducing us to think of disease. She used Shobi's examination to nail it down.
And we all haven't even ever imagined that her disease would be a lie. Indeed.
I wasn't with you at the time, but the story sounds awkward, even to me. And I'm the king of awkward. You know that. Wink. A healthy person suddenly gets disabled by an unknown endemic disease. Yes, definitely awkward.
I see. She carefully used her words to distract our attention from the suddenness of the examination result.
Did she also knock out Kokoro then? Because that's pretty rude.
However, that made her get caught by Shobai. On the contrary.
What do you mean?
Poor Iroha.
It didn't make sense at all. Emma Megarobi talking about fever, and Kokoro Mitsume talking about an attack. Of course, I didn't notice the disguise at that time. But when the murder took place, about who is the killer?
I guess he meant like...
I figured out who the killer was pretty quick.
And we didn't have to wonder. We didn't have to wonder if you told us earlier. Why didn't you just say that?
Sorry, I was busy. Told you, have a creed, shorty. But well, now you've exposed everything, so I felt I don't have to keep it no more. The secret everybody knows is no more a secret.
It's checkmate, Emma. Queen to f6. No, wait a minute. I can make something... I mean, something's wrong. I'm not the killer. Wow, this is really sad. I'm sorry, Emmy, but it seems like no one's on your side now.
Me too. At first I believed that Kanade's reasoning was wrong. Mostly because she's such an asshole to me.
My reasoning is perfect.
Wait. We haven't discussed how the killer dealt with the body yet. I was outside my room when the body was discovered. I couldn't do anything with it.
Hold on. Okay, I'm good.
You could do that treatment in the morning.
After you stopped disguising yourself, you didn't have to open up the door for us. So you could do your job whether somebody else visited or not.
By job, you mean the final step, right?
Yes. Take frozen Kokoro out of the refrigerator and cut off every hand and foot to hide the severed fingertip. then chucked the hands and feet into the ocean. Then the room would be full of blood, wouldn't it? Then the room would be full of blood, wouldn't it? And there was no such trace. Not at all. She was fully frozen down to cells, so there's no risk of blood spill. Maybe flesh would splash. Eek! Terrible. Then rearrange the refrigerator partitions back to the original and put a liquid nitrogen label on the drum for distraction. Finally, get out of the room, and everything is perfect.
Wait, there's one last thing that bothers me. Kokoro was frozen by the quick freeze mode on the refrigerator, right? Not by liquid nitrogen. No matter how long the freezing was, it must have melted if exposed to the room temperature for hours. Indeed, there was blood coming out from the cut surface of the hands and feet. But there was very little. Shouldn't it melt faster in room temperature? The room wasn't room temperature, though. The point is that the melting speed was too slow. Remember when we went in the room and we were, like, met with the literal, like, Breath of the Wild ice moving in on us? Perhaps that's because the killer used that tool to keep the body cool. Is this where we're going to talk about dry ice? Maybe? We still haven't used that. It's still on my radar. What? The killer used that tool to keep the body cold. The bloodstain! That was probably just a mistake.
Nikke, that's because the killer used dry ice.
Dry ice?
When the body was discovered, there was cold air and a white fog in the room. At first we believed it was the liquid nitrogen, but it was actually dry ice. Indeed, the bag of dry ice was at the crime scene. She maintained the temperature with dry ice in order to prevent the frozen body from melting. Oh no! How is it? Now you don't have anything to rebut, right? And...
Wow, this sucks. Okay.
Why are you being so harsh to me?
Because you did a murder, lady.
I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted revenge for Kokoro.
Uh-huh. You've heard that before.
That reasoning, based upon coincidence, makes me guilty.
Hammy.
Enough already. Will you ever stop?
Sora! You'll understand, won't you? I'm not the killer.
I was like the first one to betray you, other than Kanade, so I don't know why you're turning to me now.
Please, persuade them for me. We're all about to be done for.
Which side would this reaction be, an act or truth? All the evidence is indicating Emma is the killer. It's nothing but her just being stubborn. Let's present the final evidence and break down her insistence. Oh, we're gonna fight her now. We're gonna what? Why is she Harley Quinn now? Wait, what? I thought she... How can you say that to me? I thought she was Emma Frost, but in reality she was Harley Quinn the whole time.
How did it come to this? It can't end up like this.
Man, this minigame seems extremely stressful. Although,
I'm gonna be mad.
it doesn't look like you really lose that much health when they explode in your face, so maybe it'd be fine. What did that even break? Oh, it broke the, like, swish coming from her magic wand or whatever she's holding.
So you don't believe me?
I think it's a long, like, pipe. That would make more sense.
We're all going to die. What a shame. I believed in you.
Wow, rude. Wait, is she like... Oh, I know what she is. It is a magic wand. I was like, wait, is she wearing like a Gryffindor scarf?
I'm innocent. You can trust me.
She's like an amalgamation of movie characters. She's got like the magic wand and the cloak of a Harry Potter character and a Harley Quinn outfit at the same time.
Too harsh. You're all monsters.
You mean like the Yuki-onna? I broke your wand. How do you feel? Those are hard to get back.
Your reasoning is wrong.
I wonder what's originally in the middle. And maybe it's nothing.
Is this the end?
Yep, this is the end. Now you're just Harley Quinn. Both cannot exist in one place. Or both cannot coexist in one place. Same difference. Oh, jeez. Cover your shame! Alright, I'm sitting up in my chair. I'm ready for whatever this ending is about to be. Huh? Okay, we're good. I was like, what is happening?
I have one thing to ask everyone. Has anybody ever visited Kokoro with Emma?
Huh? It's like Batman!
Oh, that's,
Will you stop using that one sprite? Look me in the eyes, lady! Of course there isn't anyone, because Kokoro we met during the visits was Emma herself. If Emma came to visit, there'd be nobody in Kokoro's dorm.
What are you talking about, Sora? I definitely visited Kokoro's room. Don't you remember? With Yuki and Teruya.
But you couldn't get in the door, so weirdly enough.
Oh, that's true. I did go there with Emma.
And what happened?
On her way out of the dining room, I came to her and suggested she go with us.
Oh, so you messed up her plans. Good job, Yuki. Too bad you had a crush on her, though. That's unfortunate.
So, did Kokoro open the door at that time?
No, that was last evening. The first time Kokoro didn't open the door for us.
Well, obviously she didn't. How can it be opened when Emma is outside the room?
Instead, what Yuki just said makes her more suspicious. You fool. The excuse that she had no appetite was in order to get out fast and disguise as Kokoro. So as a result, Emma actually has never volunteered for the visit. So much for caring about Kokoro. He didn't even visit her. Not didn't. More like couldn't. Perhaps it was an unexpected event for her to receive the suggestion from Yuki. She did try to get out first at that time, indeed. Emma, just give up. Just die already. You have no place to back into anymore. Come on. No. There's no use in rebutting now. Let's summarize the case once more. Then you won't be able to rebut anymore. Ah, right. I forgot about this part. I guess this part's going to take a while. The final case summary. Think. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I don't think we need to watch this whole thing. Because we're going to see all the images here anyway in the right order. So that's probably fine. The case started with the performance as Setsuka suggested. I'm just going to read this in my normal voice. During the performance, Kokoro suddenly fell ill. Fell down. Same diff. In this case. At this moment, the killer said her body's hot as lava, so that it would seem like she'd fallen into a disease. But in fact, it was actually an attack by the killer amongst the commotion. Poor Kokoro. I feel bad for her. We immediately brought Kokoro to her dorm room. The song's still a bop, though. We used her finger to turn on the Smart Student Handbook. The handbook can only be turned on by its owner's fingerprint. This is used as one of the tricks by the killer. The killer pretended to show worry about Kokoro and left the room last. It was to steal Kokoro's student handbook. Like how weird just Shinji looked at them. He's like, okay. Soon the night came, and Killer went back to Kokoro's dorm room after everyone was asleep. Finding nobody watching her, the killer started the preparation with ease. At first she tied up Kokoro and cut off her fingertip. This was because she needed Kokoro's fingerprint. After she'd stopped the bleeding, she put Kokoro into the refrigerator. The refrigerator had enough space for a person as small as Kokoro, when all the partitions were removed. As she set the refrigerator output as instant freeze, to freeze Kokoro to death. Then the killer started to prepare the disguise. The key of this murder was to disguise as Kokoro, thus pretending as if Kokoro were still alive. For that, she collected Kokoro's clothes, but she still needed the hair part for a perfect disguise. Here, the killer took interest in the dressing room in the museum and started her plan from there. She had to get ready for the disguise before the next morning, but it was impossible for her to get to the museum at nighttime. Impossible for her to get to the museum as nighttime had already come. So the killer used a rope-like thing to jump down from the monocruise through the balcony on the 4th floor. Arriving at the museum, she took out a wig that looked similar to Kokoro's hair from the dressing room. Oh my god, you see that, right? A Makoto wig and an Ibuki wig. That's great. This makes a lot... Oh, that would make a loss on the dressing room prop list. So she destroyed the Yuki Onna statue and used its hair to fill the list instead. The destruction not only helped cover the loss, but it also gave us the sense that Yuki Onna had awoken. Considering the body state we discovered, it worked out perfectly. The next morning, the killer came back to the monocruise right after the door was opened to remove the evidence on the balcony, and used Kokoro's student handbook to send a request to Shobai.
Damn, I'm just trying to have a smoke over here.
I was attacked by the void and want to conceal myself to find that void. So please make a false examination upon me and tell the others I have a disease. That was the request. Shobai the Scrooge accepted this request, but felt that something wasn't quite right when he saw the disguised killer.
Damn, she doesn't look right.
Remaining silent even in front of Shobai himself, and the situation that contradicts with She's Got the Fever, gave him suspicions. Perhaps he was able to spot the killer based on these two inconsistencies.
I'm not so easily fooled.
Anyway, his false examination made us believe that Kokoro had been suffering from a disease, which allowed the killer to overcome the biggest challenges of the disguise: voice and height. In addition, the killer required us to bring meals for her at specific times, for she was now disabled. This was to reduce the risk of an unexpected situation, and to disguise more easily. Still, the killer had to finish her meal early to disguise as Kokoro in advance. And this made her look more suspicious. For a few days after that, we delivered meals to the disguised Kokoro and saw the face of Kokoro. Iroha laughing about lol. So nobody ever noticed that Kokoro was dying at that very moment. Oh jeez, that's morbid. At the same time, Kokoro was gradually being frozen in the refrigerator. She's like... She left a dying message with the last of her strength. I was just trying to look. I guess technically you could say that the finger Emma cut off wasn't her pointer finger, but I think that's what they were implying in the earlier one, and she's got all her fingers in this one. Oh, whatever. She broke 8 icicles that were created by the instant freeze mode. So yeah, they are tiny. I don't know about this, but whatever. And carved F on the front and O on the back with her nail. I guess there's been less logical things that happen in Danganronpa cases. On the last icicle, she carved I instead of O, then penetrated it with the tallest one. The icicles meant 8 females. The tallest girl among the females was the one who killed Kokoro. Indeed, the killer was the tallest among the females. We couldn't have noticed the killer without this dying message. I mean, you could have, but, you know, it'd be harder. As time passed, Kokoro finally died and the killer gave up on the disguise. That morning, using the empty drum and the bag of dry ice she collected the night before, she prepared to finish her crime. First, she put a liquid nitrogen label onto the drum so that we'd mistake the freezing method for nitrogen instead of the refrigerator. Then she took out Kokoro's frozen body and cut her hands and feet. It was to prevent us from coming up with the idea that the fingerprint came from a cut fingertip. And also to pretend that Yukiona's curse had been cast, which really only fooled one person, so it was a lot of effort for basically nothing. Then she put dry ice onto Kokoro's body to slow down its melting and left the room. All that remains is for us to feel something suspicious as we deliver her meal and eventually discover the body. The killer this time was fairly cunning and careful. In fact, we might have not noticed her identity if Kokoro had not left that message. The killer who murdered Kokoro... Wow, 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 wow. Can be no one but you, Emma Magarobi. Anybody that wears a fur coat is evil. It's not really fur, but you know what I mean. What can I say? It's true. Nobody but me. Yes. You were standing right beside Hajime too, so that's ominous. You said no one but me. Uh-huh. She's not crying this time. It's a failure then. Okay. Points. Nice. Damn, a C. That's passable. Diddle-diddle-doo, diddle-doo. Oh, he got 100s on a lot of that, so I'm surprised that was a C. He only really missed 3. I guess he missed 3 pretty hard, though. I don't know. It's a pretty rough grading scale, Mr. Monocro.
So, you eventually ended up with a conclusion. As you know, as it's your second trial, there's only one chance and you can't take it back. Let's find out whether your conclusion is true or not. Ladies and gentlemen, vote for the killer with the button in front of you. It's voting time. Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it going to be?
Well, at this point, if anybody chooses anything but Emma, aside from Emma, I guess, it'll be shocking. Doodle-doo-doodle-doo-doodle-doo. Wow, if we keep going at this rate, the next 3 voids are going to be Yuki, Shinji, and Nikke. Because because they all stood beside each other. Actually, no, it wouldn't be Nikke. It would just be Yuki and Shinji because the other one's Mikado. We knew that. So I wonder what's going to happen after all the voids do their murders. Like, there's going to have to be at least one committed by a not void, right? All right, this one's 30 minutes long. Jesus Christ.
That's right! Miss Emma Megaruby was the culprit of this murder case. A rightful verdict indeed. I must say, your performance was splendid. Get it?
I hate you. I hate you all. Emma. I'll kill you.
Damn it.
We had the right answer. Emma was the killer. We already worked it out in the discussions we got through. Everyone must have voted for her with confidence. But knowing the answer beforehand didn't make this any less of a shock.
Yeah.
Having to accept that one of your classmates committed murder. I mean, you already did that, but we'll look over that.
Why? I believed in you, you know. I was, like, totally into you. And now you're a murderer, so it's kind of a turnoff. Just why? You were close friends with Kokoro. Why did you kill her, Emma?
Whoa. Fade. I don't know if I've heard her scream "Baka" before, but that's funny.
Why do you think she did it when there's only one possible reason? She's a void. It's because she's a void. Aren't you a void, Ma-chan?
Hey, isn't it too early to say that? We're not entirely sure if the relationship murder equals void is 100% true. Maybe she's just evil.
It would be best if Emma explains it to us herself. Like, dude, just give it up already.
Emma-chan, please tell us. Tell us about the reason you committed murder.
Fine if I must. She's got like a 7-act play about it. There's no need to mind my presence, Miss Megaruby. Speak as freely as you desire. If you say anything wrong, I'll murder you quicker, but that's fine.
What's he talking about?
What is he talking about?
Your abilities are far superior to those of Mr. Makanuchi, so I put my trust in you. You may use this little time you have left in any way you want.
Having kept silent from the end of the trial, Emma suddenly let out a deep breath. Ellipses. And began talking. Oh, she really is Yukiona.
Nothing big. I did it because I'm a void, like you pointed out. And just like Hajime, I'm Mikado's co-conspirator and ally, too. I'm sorry if you expected something saintly from me.
Slap her. Ah!
Emma's beautiful face had become contorted as she spoke. It looked surprisingly similar to Hajime's appearance in the last trial.
Void! See, I told you.
But the Voids! Weren't they no longer willing to work with Mikado after he betrayed them?
Betrayed. Yes, Hajime died. And we weren't told that we would die for real, too. From our perspective, it's true. Mikado betrayed us.
Then why? Why would you commit murder?
It's too late to turn back for us.
Apparently. You can't go in public with that red eye.
Us voids, we can't be saved even if we decide not to go with the plan at this point. If we antagonized Mikado and helped you escape this island, there'd be absolutely nothing left for us.
But you didn't have to go so far as to murder. I don't know about your motive, but we could have helped you get over it.
It's not something that can be magically solved like that. You don't know anything about us. We have our own reasons for doing this. Is that why you killed Kokoro? Was it to carry out Void's plan as a member of the group?
Kokoro said Hajime's murder was coordinated in advance. They must have a goal that should be accomplished no matter what, even if it means killing someone and risking execution.
So, Magarobi-chan was supposed to murder too?
That is one point I find strange as well. I am certain Miss Magarobi's turn was yet to come.
Huh? What do you mean?
I'll give a brief explanation. Each of the 5 voids has a responsibility to commit murder in a set order. I believe Mr. Makanuchi has mentioned this before. Of course, anyone else is welcome to kill. You may think of this as a safeguard against possible deadlocks. If only voids commit murder, other voids with knowledge of the kill order would know the identity of the culprit long before the trial.
It would be like watching a mystery TV show after being spoiled to the ending. Neither fair nor entertaining. However, it's surely a great merit to know who is supposed to murder next.
Then, if it wasn't Emma's turn yet...
I was perplexed after realizing who the culprit was. The occurrence of a non-void murderer was within my expectation, but voids muddling up the kill order? It would have been nice if I was informed of this in advance.
I'm sorry, Mikado. I messed up the reenactment.
Oh god. What?
No need to apologize. Although you may not have noticed it, you reenacted the case to a fine extent.
Kokoro Mitsume, because that woman got on my nerves. I had to kill her.
Okay. You can go now.
But you were close to her. Why?
Right, yeah.
Since I'm going to die soon, I'll just tell you. It was when we were watching the twins' performance.
Did Kokoro actually, like, try to be friendly with you and you were like, get out of here?
What's the matter, Kokoro? The concert's still going on. Why did you want to have a talk all of a sudden? This is also for your own sake, so I hope you understand. Emma, you've been encouraging me to join the rest of you for the past few days, correct? Right! Oh, do you feel like doing it at last? Well, I believe you can suppose so, but only under one condition. One condition? I have plans to cooperate and resolve this situation with the rest of you, if you decide to work with us, Emma. What do you mean by that? I don't understand. Can't you understand? My condition is for you, a member of Void, to stop working for your group and join us. What are you talking about? Me, a Void? I admit you've done a great job, but acting won't work here. You can't deceive me. Emma Magarobi, you are a Void. Don't worry. If I'd intended to reveal your identity to everyone, I would have already done so. I know a few others who are quite likely to be in Void as well. Still, I'm proposing this offer to you because you always approached me with a friendly attitude. I think you'll be able to be of a great help. I hope you don't make unwise decisions here, such as attacking me. I'm not imprudent enough to talk one-on-one with a dangerous individual like you. Besides, everyone will witness your crime, even if you do succeed. I've asked Teruya to act as my bodyguard a few days ago. He should be watching us now. If you're planning any tricks, just give up. What do you want? Just as I said, come to our side. Tell everyone that you're a void, and share any information you have about them. And Mikado Sanoji. We need the void's information in order to work out the problem. In fact, I have a fairly convincing suspicion about who Mikado Sanoji might be. If the void's testimony backs it up, we may be able to escape this island. There are 2 more voids among us. If I become a traitor, you know what they'll do. No need to be concerned. I believe I know who they are. If you choose to join us, I'll make them follow you to join our side. It's easy to say that. We voids have a reason to be committed to our plan, even as far as to resort to these dirty methods. I don't know how you managed to expose me, but I can't draw back here, even if it's against you, Kokoro. Do you know our pain, our suffering? If you know so much, why don't you try your almighty mind reading on me? Well, at last, you've expressed your honest feelings. What? For the last few days, Emma, you constantly tried to get along with me. As the ultimate actress, you played a pure-hearted friend with a level of sincerity that even I couldn't doubt. Of course, your real purpose was to keep watch on me, someone who poses a threat to Void. Your overly perfect kindness, nothing but purity in your mind. I was able to notice your Void using these hints. But at the same time, I wanted to know how you truly felt. Regardless of your intent, you were the first to become this close to me. Kokoro. Finally, after pushing you this far, I can finally understand you, which makes me want even more for you to work with us, Emma. But don't worry. Whether it's about your father or your adoptive parents, we'll do the best we can to help.
Wow, she knows way more than I did.
What? I told you earlier. Because you showed me your honest feelings, I can understand you now. When I read a defenseless person's mind, I can naturally see their feelings. Your dark past, Void's motives. I saw how it was all like. You saw it? I apologize for doing it without your consent, but this was the only way to convince... Emma? No. No! This emotion is... a monster? No. I'll do whatever you say, but I'll bring money. Please don't hurt me.
Whoa.
Wait. Mr. Otori.
That's... I see. Miss Mitsume had touched Miss Magarobi's raw nerve.
What are you talking about?
Miss Magarobi has lived a terrible past, which she absolutely loathes to recall. I would say it's similar to a psychological trauma, in that it's literally a psychological trauma. Good on me. The mere act of recalling it is enough to cause her seizures, even in normal settings. When it combined with her complex feelings and the shock from being exposed, well, Miss Magarobi couldn't control her emotional outbursts anymore.
So, it was an accident then.
Oh.
Now I understand why Emma committed murder when it wasn't her turn.
I'm sorry, everyone. As Emma said, the day after I woke up on this island, Kokoro gave me a personal request. She said she was going to focus completely on finding the voids, and was concerned about the other voids targeting her. So she told me to watch her from a close distance, and come to help in case something happened.
She must have chose you because you were the least likely to be a void. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Kokoro said that. She made a whole announcement to tell us she's not going to care but whatsoever about Void. And then spent all her time revealing Voids.
She said it was to delude the Voids. She wasn't sure who was in Void, so she pretended to be ignorant and worked in secret. Kokoro really did want to help us. But I couldn't save her. I was distracted by the concert and it took my eyes off her. I left Kokoro to be attacked and die right under my nose. You don't have to feel responsible, Teruya. No one would have expected a killer to attack her in a crowded place like that.
Yeah, and that would mean it's our fault too for doing the concert. If Kanade and I looked more closely at the audience, this wouldn't have...
Well, that's kind of, it's mostly Teruya's fault.
I know the audience was looking toward the stage, but why didn't the twins see it?
Kanade always closes her eyes when playing the guitar, and I can't see very far when I'm focusing on communicating with people in the front lines. Stop it. This isn't the time to find out who's at fault. We weren't just lucky enough for these bad events to all happen at once. It's already done. I don't regret it. It was bound to happen someday. After all, this is a curse ingrained in my memory. Even if Kokoro did not bring up my past, I would have never betrayed Void. As a Void, I will put everything in the one last hope we have. Even if you die from it? Yes. Besides, I would be no better than a dead person if the plan fails.
Really? Really? You're saying that right now? Really?
Huh?
Do you really have no regrets? Big Sis had has a gut feeling that you really felt happy when you were with Mitsume-chan, Margarobi-chan. That was hard to say. Same when you were with us. Makanuchi-chan said he enjoyed being with us too.
She's right. Void is only doing this because they were forced to by some unknown reason. It's not too late. You can recompense for what you did later. For now, don't you think we should work together to give that Mikado a big kick in the butt? Not you, Emma, you're already dead, but the other ones.
You assholes, you're making me feel bad. Mikado! I'm done! Start my execution now.
Would it be alright?
I can't. I don't think I can face you all any longer. If I stand here for another moment, I won't be able to remain a void.
Well, damn, stand here for another moment then. No one but Emma herself would ever know whether she was putting on an act or not. But I could tell that she looked incredibly distressed at that time. I mean, she was about to die, so let's be honest here. Knowing that a classmate committed murder, hearing that she was a void. Troubled by mixed feelings, everyone had lost their words and merely stood watching her.
I'll say one last thing. Shinji's plan. I don't think it was fundamentally in the wrong direction. If we had another way out, we wouldn't have agreed to join this nasty plan. Hajime felt it, and I do too. If I'd met you in another setting, we would have stayed good friends. But while the plan is in action, all of the process means nothing. No matter what you all do, the outcome is already set, just like I'm about to die, despite my feelings.
The outcome is already set.
Though I will die as another sacrifice to the plan, you should try working against it any way you can. That's all I can say.
Magarobi-chan, are you okay with that? It's our last chance. Can't you tell us something to strike back at Mikado with at the very least?
Your words are of no use. The other voids, as well as Miss Magarobi, have already realized the state they're in. This is their only choice. They must put every bit of themselves into this plan.
Just what is this plan you keep mentioning? I can't logically put together anything you or the Void say. You're a bunch of weirdos.
Well, it would not make much of a difference even if Miss Magarobi or I told the plan to everyone here. As Miss Magarobi said, the outcome is already set. Everything is here. Everything in here is only a step leading toward that outcome.
A stepping stone for hope.
In any case, we should salute Emma's determined resolution. Keeping calm in her current position isn't an easy task to do. We salute her resolution. Her resolution. Ah, this is Miss Magarobi's favorite type of joke.
I don't care, just kill me.
Do it already.
All right, if you want it so bad. I'm glad to have worked with such an outstanding person. It's almost a shame that I have to execute her myself. Hey, Yuki, do you want to do it instead?
What?
But are you certain about this? The subject of death is not something to be taken lightly, even more so than you think. Only a few minutes left. You will be executed shortly after. Prepare to take in the full experience of the last moments of your life.
Since the atmosphere has cooled down, this seems like a fitting moment to begin the execution. Let us commence. I have prepared a very special punishment for the blackened of this case, Miss Emma Magarobi, the ultimate actress.
To die. I'm going to die.
You just realized?
Hold on, don't start it yet. I think I'm scared.
Then, shall we start?
I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I still want to live. I don't want to be killed.
Punishment time! Yeah.
Well, here we go. Magarobi was found guilty. It's time for the punishment. It's Harry Potter. I wonder if that's going to get the video claimed. What does that say? Team Void Pictures. Was it a VP? I didn't even look. That would actually be really funny. Instead of a WB. Hello. Oh. Oh.
Why so serious?
Oh my god. The Emma in the woods. I am... Okay. Gotta fly on the Nimbus, what is it, 2,000 or 5,000? I can't remember. It's Hagborts. Welcome to Hagborts. Now it's a zombie movie. Okay. Okay, I see. A slasher film. I guess that makes sense. Oh. She was reduced to atoms. You know, some people might say that was more gruesome than, what's his face, Hajime's, but you know what? That was a lot easier to watch, I'll tell you that.
Poor woman, you were never paid back for your efforts. Farewell. May her remains rest in peace. I will bury the singular atom in a tiny coffin.
Ah! Yeah, no kidding.
An excellent colleague, I must say. You were too average at something. Begging for your life at the last minute. A pure disgrace.
Yeah, shut up, Mikado.
Please, no more. How? How long do we need to keep doing this?
Okay, maybe that was a little bit too much.
Damn it! Damn it! Is it over? Can I go to bed? I'm tired of this.
Hey, you! What's up with that attitude when you've done literally nothing?
Shouldn't you be used to it by now? I say mind your own business, and I'll mind mine.
Shobai, I don't care what you do, but aren't you in need of a way to get out of this place too?
I can look after myself, so quit bothering me. Oh, was it Emma Magarobi? I heard her speaking. Kokoro Mitsume, that woman. What she said back then is quite bothersome. Her death might have been a greater loss than I thought.
Yeah, she knew who all the voids were. What's he talking about?
He just stepped out?
Yeah, he does that to Ria. It's a thing.
Well, everyone, thank you for your hard work. Although there may be less of us now, let us not lose our spirit and return to a normal life. Even happiness itself will be frightened to come by your despondent looks. Oh, I crack myself.
He's a spiteful person, even till the end.
Did he just punch him or what? Second class trial was over. Oh, he teleported. Okay. The culprit of the second murder was executed. Regardless of who she really was, this was the death of a friend we lived with for the past few days. Like in Hajime's case, I wasn't able to get used to this feeling. All that remained in the courtroom was an extremely unpleasant one. Setsuka and Shinji, who had been our pillars of strength, kept silent, as if they'd lost all their energy.
Stop crying, Iroha. Guys, I don't know what to say, but let's not give up here. No, not this. Man, why would they have said that at a time like this? Damn. Yeah, you said it, man.
Everyone.
I never thought I'd agree with Mikado. Big sis? You guys snap out of it!
And Biki-chan?
What are you all doing? Even Mikado said so. We shouldn't be let down. Let's return to our normal life. Are you gonna stay up all night here, huh?
Does she have an alternate personality too or something?
Honestly, I'm feeling a lot of guilt right now. Haji and M, I was the indirect cause of both of their murders.
What?
We threw the party that led to Ree dying because I was complaining all the time, and Suka planned the concert where Korra was attacked also because of me.
Yeah, right. So what? Isn't this where you'd normally start crying like a baby?
Be quiet! And yeah, this is a hard time. But if I keep being peevish and whiny, I'm gonna make another murder happen.
Not at all. It's not your fault. Don't put the blame on yourself.
No, I realized that I have to change when Suka cheered me up last time. And even more so, I don't want to be a burden to the rest of you.
I guess we should start doing something too to match up with Little Beaky's heartwarming speech.
Who are you calling Little Beaky?
Right. Emma's words gave confidence to my belief. Voids are victims too. I have no idea about their purpose, but they felt some sense of intimacy with us. A fellowship with each other. They're being a part of this plan only because they had no other choice. If we find another way to help them, we could solve everything. I won't let any more people die. I won't give up. Guys, cheer up. We'll get through this.
Everyone. It seemed as if Hibiki brought the depressing atmosphere back to life. I think you mean, like, killed the depressing atmosphere still. When you think about it, wouldn't she be the person who changed the most coming out of this? After going through that series of events, Hibiki had now developed a mature attitude that moved everyone. With a few exceptions, of course.
I'm still going to bed.
Like hell we will. Oh, come on, Nikkei.
What?
If you're gonna keep playing friends with each other, leave me out. Turned out really well this time, didn't it?
I'm gonna do this by myself now.
Huh? Key, what's the matter all of a sudden?
It's not all of the sudden. Didn't I tell you? This was an overly complacent approach. Shinji said voids are victims too. But so what? That doesn't make them any less of a criminal, and we don't know when they're gonna strike. Well, I'm not keeping you back if you still want to call them friends and whatnot.
What? You promised to be in our group, and now you're turning on us like it's nothing? Are you a void? Is it because you're in void?
Think whatever you want. It's just, I can't trust that your naive approach will work. From this point on, I'm on my own like Shobai. Good luck with that strange Teruya guy. Man, I'm not strange, am I? Jeez, that fellow. Why is he suddenly acting like that?
Suddenly might not be the right word. Nick seemed to have his own complaints even before the murder.
He can be on his own. I don't want to let him join anyway.
Then, shouldn't we all start moving?
Sure. We'll think of what to do next after getting back up. Roha, do you feel okay now?
Yeah, I'm sorry for the mess earlier.
What mess?
When you cried a little bit, I think that's warranted.
Yuki, we should go. Yuki?
I really liked her, okay? Huh? Wait, what? Right, we should leave.
What's wrong? You were spacing out.
No, that was Yuri's job. I know our names are similar, but
Yu was a big fan of M. I know how you feel, but try to cheer up for M, Yu.
That was a little bit rude, but whatever.
It's not because of that.
it's not because of that. Sorry. I had a bit of a cough.
Huh? Did I say something I wasn't supposed to?
Yeah, kinda.
Looks like everyone's not in their best condition. It's understandable, though.
There's still meaning in trying to stay bright. So let's bear this hardship together.
Okay, let's go up, Kanade. I hate you. I hate you. This isn't like Hibiki at all. What are you doing, Kanade? Are you going to keep your big sis waiting? Get those feet moving. Sorry, big sis. I'm coming.
Okay. Our moment of delight was cut short by Nikke, followed by a few others who looked fairly different from usual.
I'm a void.
Wait, I couldn't imagine how this small crack in our relationship would play out. Although we were all worried about the same problem, none chose to verbalize it, and we finally decided to get rest for the day. Okay, to go to bed. Finally decided it was time for bed. It's time for crab. It's the night after the second class trial. Thanks. We agreed to put off thinking where to go from here until tomorrow and get enough sleep for now. Emma. Void. Yes, those things are like they go together. We don't have any clues about them. What was their objective? For what reason did they come up with a plan like this and carry it out? Continuously turning over in my mind questions I could never understand, I descended into the ocean of sleep. The dreamy ocean. Act 3, Dreamy Ocean. Oh, is this another flashback? Yes, things will get important from now on. I'll do my best to look for the thing you told me. Be careful. Act normal and void, and don't let them find out. Wait. Yes, I know. Just count on Big Sis for everything.
What?
Noroi Montagari. A curse story, yeah. Well, that did turn out pretty relevant. Man, I miss Kokoro already. Danganronpa. What did that last little bit mean? All right. Oh boy. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, we got our Oscar award. Okay. Okay. And yeah, now they're going to say we quit. So, my thoughts. This is a pretty good trial. I mean, there's something to be said for trials you can't figure out before you go in, right? Like something like Nagito's trial or whatever leaves a big impression because you can't figure it out. But honestly, the goal of these is usually for you to be able to figure it out on your own before the game tells you, right? And this was a really good trial for that. I'm actually quite impressed. The fact that Kokuro's dead's a bit of a bummer. And you know what? Emma almost returned my, like, you know, when before this case, she was at a pretty solid level of me liking her. And then as soon as this case started and she started to like slide into the realm of maybe being a void, I was like, eh. And she like brought it up a little bit after that. But not too much. We'll see. I'm kind of disappointed Nikke's leaving the main group. That's unfortunate, but not surprising. And you know what? You know who really has improved my view on them? Freaking Hibiki. At the same time Kanade's like likability level has dropped to like rock bottom, Hibiki's has started to grow. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of the opposite because like when you first see their twin dynamic, you're like, yeah, okay, there's the mean twin and the abused twin. So I'm going to be like, you know, it's okay, Kanade, things will be okay. But it turns out Kanade is actually just as bad, if not worse than her at the beginning. So, yikers. Anyway, the thing I'm scared about the most is I don't want anybody else to die now. Other than like Shobai, Mikado, like those guys. But they're not going to die. Honestly, I kind of like everybody else that's left. So this is an unfortunate scenario for me. Okay, see you guys next time. Like and subscribe. Bye.